The following production is part of the Play Some Video Games podcast network.
Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of Play Some Video Games, the flagship show of the PSVG podcast and the only gaming podcast in the world of battle royales to bring you the victory royale, the chicken dinners, and the kill leader all in one. It is I, your host, Kevin, the kill leader, and with me this week is the victory royale, Dev from PSVG OT, and with me as always is my chicken dinner because he's finger licking good. Lucas, dude, how are we doing today, guys?
We're doing good. I'm excited. Yeah. Who is that beautiful man I see?
It's me. It's Devin. I'm happy to be here. The ever-revolving third chair to you guys' bromance of awesomeness.
Well, to be fair, this is the first time we've had a third chair.
Yeah, this is true. And I plan to try to be in the ever-revolving third chair as often as possible.
Well, if Donnie keeps recording on Thursdays, it's pretty much always going to be open for whoever jumps in first. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll just post a link to the show at like 9 o'clock when we go to start to record, and whoever jumps in just gets it. Like first one in, and then I close it. Like, nope.
Then it really is a battle royale.
Yeah, see? Battle royale, it all works. All right, so before we dive into the show proper, we do need to take a quick time out and thank all of our awesome Patreon producers over there at patreon.com/PSVG. We got Coach Hulk, Edwin Callow, Devin Tyus, Kevin Austin, Chris M, Kyle Heyman, The Bonesaw, Josh Barboni, Barry Cathcart, Paul Calico. Thank you so much. And just a reminder, Donnie posted our giveaway today. He's giving away a game or a gift shop card of the platform of your choice to all Patreon supporters are eligible to win in this month's raffle. So if you're not on board, and let's be honest, why aren't you? You listen to the show. You listen to all of our shows. There's like 37 shows a week we put out. You could give just $1 and have a chance to win something every single month. Those are better odds than the lottery. That's just math. It's science. It's factual. Let's go. So, patreon.com/PSVG. Just for $1, you get all the extra content we do. Patreon blog posts. We have the PSVG DLC, which episode 2 is recording this week. Well, last week from when you're listening to this, but this week from when I'm recording this. Anyway, it's coming soon. So once again, if you have not donated, jump in now and you will get all the PSVG DLC episodes as well as all the extra goodies. So, gentlemen, let's do what we came here to get done, and let's talk about some video games. So, Devin, as our guest, why don't you go first, man? What have you been playing lately? You actually have games that are not Destiny.
Yeah, Destiny's been sitting on the back burner for a while. I was talking to my coworker today who I play a lot of Destiny with, and we're like, we have zero desire to play that game right now. There's just a lot of other stuff going on. So, what I've been playing this week, I played a good amount of Daemon X Machina, or Machina, or however you want to pronounce it. And I'm really enjoying that game, even though it's just a little demo, beta, whatever. It's fun. It has a lot of the stuff that I like to do in games. There's a lot of leveling up. There's a lot of gear to collect, a lot of stuff to change out. I listened to your take on it, and it's like we played 2 different games entirely. Because you actually kept the shield. I got rid of the shield and had 2 guns, and actually put a lot of the little attributes into my speed, so I was moving a lot faster. So I think it's just a matter of like actually drilling down into the game and seeing the different stuff you can do, because like all of your parts can be changed out, not only on your ship, but you also have adjustments that can be made to the actual your character, your avatar. So there's certain things you can do. Like I had different eyes or whatnot that allowed me to actually shoot further or scope in or something like that. And you actually do end up getting out of your mech. If your mech gets close to being destroyed, you actually get out of it. So a lot of those little augments you have to your character actually help when you're out of that, because you can move faster and you have guns and different weapons and stuff outside of your mech as well. So there's a lot of depth to that game. I think a lot of people didn't actually see if they didn't play through a good portion of the demo, because you actually get a couple more missions and you get to a boss fight. And it's pretty cool. So you start to get to some of that, like that feeling of like really being a badass in the air when you're flying around in the mech and stuff. But you got to play a little bit more to get to that. But
you did get me to re-download the demo. I didn't try it again yet, but when you're like, hey, I think we played 2 different games, so like maybe I missed something here. I don't know. I don't know if it's just I don't like mechs. I don't know. I just really have zero desire. Like I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the way it runs for me. Like it just I don't know. But I'll give it another shot and I'll report back next week and we'll see if you've swayed me on it. But I think as of right now, it's going to remain in that mantle of Nintendo first-party games that I have zero interest in, like ARMS.
I totally understand. You know what? I actually enjoyed ARMS too. Me and my daughter, we play that and it's kind of fun. Like we enjoyed that one. So I get it. It's not something that's going to last a while, but it's fun for a little kid who doesn't really play a lot of games. Something like that is cool to pick up. So go ahead, Lucas.
Oh, I was going to say last week I hadn't played the demo yet, but I did play a small portion of it because we were asked, I was asked what my thoughts were. So I thought, well, I better give this a little bit of a shake, but I didn't have a whole lot of time. So I only played that one intro mission where you have to get your license or whatever it was. I skipped through most of the intro stuff because I just wanted to get to the gameplay, because my biggest question and what I had heard was a lot of people were complaining about the way it feels, like how slow it is and how when you are moving around, what does that feel like? I actually thought it wasn't that bad compared to what I had heard. I was expecting way worse. So that was before you even upgrade anything or anything like that. And having heard what you said now, it makes me actually want to go back and give it even more of a fair shake to see. Because when I saw that you could customize your pilot and all the options, I'm just like, why? Why would I ever do any of this?
Yep.
But I didn't know you could jump out of your mech, or that would become a part of the game at some point. So now I kind of want to go back and see. Also, were you playing handheld or docked?
Handheld.
I was too, and I didn't like it very much.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm going to try to dock it and lock it and see how she runs. So
yeah, I don't know. I felt very comfortable with the sticks and the shoulders. Like it wasn't a problem for me at all. But
it was just aiming.
Aiming was I don't know. It felt normal for me. I don't know.
Okay,
But
I'll give it another.
A lot of Switch, so
I'll give it another run to see, get that Pro controller rolling and see how it goes.
Oh god, I need one of those so bad.
Yes, you do.
So bad. But yeah, other than that, I've been playing the Anthem early access beta demo, whatever, or just the game. I mean, honestly, with all
that's right. Yeah.
The rigmarole around that. I mean, it's pretty much the game. It was version like 0 until like 2 days ago when it was version 1, and then they also released another patch yesterday that was supposed to be the day 1 patch, but it already went live. So it's like the game has had this really weird. It's out, but it's not out. It's just it's really bad the way they did that. The messaging around it was very confusing. So I've been playing Anthem. It's fun. I really enjoy it. Hopefully it'll go live at 9 p.m. tonight, and I'll jump into that like proper. But I'm looking forward to that. It's been fun. I love the world. I love the visuals. It has the feeling. Like, I'm not big into mechs just like you. I don't want to play some hulking, slow moving thing. But with Anthem, like the characters feel really, really fast. They move well. Like I've never played a game where the flight feels as good as it does in Anthem. Like it's something about it. It just feels right. It's like they did it like right. So jumping off of a building and then like plummeting and then just taking off like Iron Man feels great. Falling in the water and then just being able to fly around in the water like Iron Man, it just feels great. There's just the movement they nailed in that game. So that's just a lot of fun.
Which javelin are you playing as?
Right now I'm playing as just a ranger, because I like to be that jack of all trades, master of none guy. Until later on, I'll probably play the interceptor just because I love the speed of that one.
Okay. So, I'm trying to figure out ahead of time, like which one I want to start with, and I'm debating between the Ranger and Storm, I think. Yeah, I'm just not sure which way to go with yet, so we'll see. But I have the game too. I haven't played it at all yet. I'm going in completely blind, untainted by all this, nonsense going online where people are like, oh, it's terrible, but it's like, hey, it's not even the day 1 version yet, or what it is now. But, like you said, it was rolled out very oddly, which is why I just sat back. I was like, I'm just going to wait for it to go live. I'm not doing the EA Access thing. I'm not doing the demos, not doing the betas. I'll wait for the game and give it a shot. So.
Yeah, that's probably honestly the best way to do it, because you're not going to be tainted by all the other stuff and seeing the very, very early builds of the game that aren't finished and tainting yourself that way. So yeah, going live and when it goes live and ignoring all the rest of it to, formulate your own opinion, I think honestly is the best way to do it. And it definitely, it has a lot of that like Destiny. Like this is a game that is going to be changing over time. So it's really weird to me to see people give it a score or a review or anything right now, just because of how much the game is going to change 3, 6, 9 months from now. It's going to be probably very, very different. But I get it. You're reviewing what's out right now at this moment. So, whatever. And then lastly, other than that, I've been playing Dead Cells, which is just a fun little platformer, Metroidvania roguelike game. So just, making my way through that, and hopefully one day I'll beat it.
It's weird that you picked Dead Cells because there's another game out that's sort of like Dead Cells, but a lot better, called Hollow Knight. And I said you should buy that.
See, I was gonna, and I posed it to the people in the Discord, and there, I got more for Dead Cells than Hollow Knight.
You did. I was very surprised. I tried to present my case, but having played both of them, I did like Dead Cells, but it was tough to go from Hollow Knight to Dead Cells because they are a little bit different. There's more of a roguelike aspect to Dead Cells with the restarting and everything. So
yeah,
I need to get back to that one.
I probably would have enjoyed Hollow Knight a bit more, just looking back on it. But I'm still having a good time with Dead Cells. Now I'll get to Hollow Knight eventually, so no big deal.
Good.
There you go. All right. So for me, number one, I have a severe problem, guys, and this has been talked about numerous times. Fortnite.
Stop it.
Let me just put it out here, though.
Put it down.
Here's the thing, though. So we all know it does the whole battle pass, and that gets you 3 months worth of content and challenges. There's new stuff every week you have to achieve. There's 10 challenges, 8 challenges weekly that you can do that give you different objectives and things to do. This is the first season I have completed every single challenge they threw out there. And that's like, hey, kill people in this specific location on the map and do this and that. And I've unlocked it all.
Is that fun for you?
Yeah, kind of.
No, that is not fun. That does not sound like a man who's having fun.
And then they released, because it's almost the end of the season. I think it ends this weekend. They released, and I think they did this strictly because of what Apex did as far as like poaching player base and how quickly it grew. They literally put out what they called the overtime challenges. And it was another additional 20 challenges that they threw out there that anybody can have. So even if you don't have a battle pass, you can participate in these challenges. If you complete 18 of these, you get the next battle pass for free.
Wow.
So that's kind of a big deal when you look at how many people play Fortnite and potentially how much, not that they need the revenue anymore at this point, but how much money they could potentially lose that people buy. I can tell you right now, I'm like 2 challenges away from getting that, and the only reason I don't have them is because the last couple of challenges don't unlock until tomorrow, so I physically cannot achieve it yet. So so it's kind of crazy, but yeah, I have a problem, and I need to stop because I have so many other games I need to play, like Far Cry New Dawn. I did start this. I will say right off the bat, I'm going to stay spoiler free here, so if anybody's listening, I'm not going to give any details. If you enjoyed Far Cry 5 at all, you will find absolutely nothing wrong with this game. It's just more of the same, including the fact that it's kind of a continuation of the same story. This whole entire game takes place 15 years after the events that ended in Far Cry 5. So it's still the same area, though it's drastically different. You are reintroduced to some of the characters you had run into before. So that kind of continues on, and it's just done in a more mainstream way, I think, a mainline way of the game. So you still have that open world environment where you can tackle whatever kinds of challenges you want, but they just made it easier because your main focus ultimately is to get supplies for your town, your camp basically, to build it up, fortify it, protect it from the twins that are wreaking havoc across the land, just want to take everything from you. You're kind of rebelling against them, and you just want to, raid their camp, steal their stuff to help build your people up and keep your people safe is basically the ultimate goal. But one thing that's really cool in this one is they introduced expeditions. So you have this guy who is a helicopter pilot that's in your camp, and he's willing to take you to these locations, which are not technically on the map of the game. So he actually flies you out to these mini maps entirely separate, and they're just like Call of Duty maps almost, where it's like, hey, here's this one location. Your objective is to get this package and get out, and I'll extract you out of here. And this is taking like a ton of resources from them. So the first one I did was a ship, like it's a run-in SS carrier type ship thing. and in the middle of it is the package I need to get. And the main thing is crawling with enemies first off, which isn't too bad. I was able to take those out pretty well. The second you pick up the package, you have 15 seconds until the GPS locator in that package goes off, and all hell breaks loose on wherever you are. So you pick up the package, and I'm running off the boat, and the helicopter guy's like, all right, I will pick you up here. And he marks it on the map, and I had to get there. No problem. I got there quick enough. I'm throwing, explosions, grenades, the whole thing. I'm taking everybody out, and I get to the location. He's not there yet. I had to hold that location for like 2 minutes from swarm after swarm after swarms of enemies to hold it for him to come pick me up. So just a kind of a cool, unique gameplay, and there's multiple of those on the game so far. I've only done that one, but I have another one unlocked, and you could replay them again with more enemies for more loot if you choose to. So they just kind of continue to do that grind and make it harder and harder for you. But ultimately, really cool, beautiful looking game. A lot of fun as long as you like the first one. If you didn't like Far Cry 5, then save your money. Don't bother with this at all because it's not going to do anything, I think, to sway you from it. All the early on comparisons where everyone's like, hey, this is like Fallout. Nope. It's just more Far Cry in a different environment. That's literally all it is. So don't think it's anything different from that. Yeah, go ahead.
That sounds really cool and everything, but I heard they introduced a double jump that's kind of unexplainable. So I'm not going to play it.
Yeah, for some reason, people are reading too much into the reality behind Far Cry, ignoring everything else that's ridiculous and harping on the double jump, which I don't have yet. I don't know how to unlock that, so I don't even see that in my skills. So I'm not sure if that's even a real thing. I honestly don't know. I haven't run into anything that would give me that ability. And then with Far Cry, you get these perk points, and the perk points are unlockable on this menu. The more you have, you can buy the more expensive unlockables. But you choose what you want to do. So you can see all the unlockables from the start. And I'm pretty sure I did not see a double jump there at all. So I'm not sure how you obtain that, or if it is just a gimmicky thing, or only during certain things that happen in the game, which if that is the case, I will report back, and it would 100% be explainable if I'm right, but I don't want to say it just in case, and it also could be a spoiler. But
okay,
I'm just going with the nuclear fallout activates your X gene, and that's your mutant ability is to double jump. That's what I'm going with.
Nah. There's well, I guess it's really not a spoiler, but Far Cry always has drugs of some sort.
Yeah,
and Far Cry 5 have this prominent drug, and I'm wondering if you can only do it during those drug-induced sequences, which technically don't happen in reality. And I'm wondering if that's how it is. And I'm like, well, that's not a big deal if that's the case. But I haven't seen it yet, so who knows? But also not grounded in reality whatsoever is my next game, Crackdown 3. So I talked a little bit about this last week, I think, Lucas, and I said, like, hey, I'm going to be playing it. I'll report back on it next week. And I didn't have high expectations for the game, but I figured, and I think I told you, I will probably have fun with it. I am. And I will say right now, for me, this is the best game that Microsoft has launched into Game Pass so far. And yes, that includes Forza. I don't care what people say. I'm having way more fun with Crackdown than I've had with any of these other games on Game Pass, hands down. Graphically, is it the best? No. Does it do anything new that revolutionizes gaming? Nope, not even a little bit. Could it be on like Xbox 360 or PS3? Yep, absolutely. But it's a ton of fun. And it's just this open sandbox. Very much Infamous, like as Donnie's mentioned, although with guns. So it's not just superpowers. You do have them. And let's be honest, the best part of the game is the national treasure known as Terry Crews.
That's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know why they give you the option of picking other agents. When you start the game, they're like, here's these 8 characters. Who do you want to be?
Wait, there's other characters in Terry
Right.
Crews?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, who would you want? Why would you want to be anybody else? Right.
It's like Starlink. Why would you want to be anybody except for Star Fox?
Thank you. That's exactly the perfect analogy there.
Because you play on PlayStation.
No, why would you? Just buy a Switch and play it there. But yeah, his voice acting is great. It's 100% him. He does a lot of voice acting for it too, so it's a ton of fun there. He says some ridiculous stuff, and it's funny because if you look at his acting career, he's done the Adam Sandler movies a few times. He's done Brooklyn Nine-Nine is his biggest thing, I think. And, those are all, PG-13 at the most rated. To hear him go off on some M-rated stuff is kind of a little jarring at first, but also really funny because of just his voice and his inflections and the cut scenes that are done, like right from the beginning of this long cut scene that kind of sets the stage for the game. Like just seeing his motion captures and his animated self that he normally is when he acts. It's the exact same thing in the game. So you can tell he really put himself into this game. And, I don't think it's going to be a huge, blockbuster success for Microsoft. I think it'll do well, but you could tell he took it 100% seriously and didn't kind of just phone it in like some Hollywood people can do when doing voice acting or screen capturing. They don't give it their all. He 100% gave it all, and I give him kudos for that. So
Awesome.
it's a lot of fun. If you have Game Pass, no brainer, at least try it out. Just unplug your brain and just play. It's fun.
You hear that, Lucas? Unplug your brain.
I can't. I have to be a snob about everything, and I will play that role until you stop.
Yep.
Did you play multiplayer? Did you mention anything?
No,
about
I've not played multiplayer yet. I've only played campaign. I only played the game for about 2.5 hours so far. And it's like all in one setting. Like I just played. I'm like, this is great, and I just kept playing. But I honestly have zero interest in multiplayer. I will do it eventually, but I think the fact that because of everything leading up to showing this game or releasing this game, they all focused on the multiplayer. And hey, you can destroy the environments. You just blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't care. I want the story. I want some context as to what I'm doing as opposed to just that. So I'll definitely give it a shot. But for my first gameplay, I'm like, no, I want to get into the game and just have some fun first.
That makes sense.
I think that's exactly what turned me off from it. Like I had no idea what the actual single player was. Like everything that the show was always multiplayer and destruction. I'm like, this doesn't look interesting at all.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I actually saw the game and saw the single player, like it reminded me of Agents of Mayhem.
Yes, it's very much like Agents of Mayhem.
It's a very fun game. It's like, just this crazy sandbox with a bunch of G.I. Joe characters and wreak havoc. So after like hearing that you enjoyed it and seeing what it actually was, I was like, oh man, I'd probably actually enjoy this game as well. So.
Yeah. I will tell you though, the one thing for me that hooked me and definitely made me say I'm going to give this a shot for sure is Terry Crews. Like I think if they didn't have an iconic person playing like the main character, I think a lot of people wouldn't even give it that, attempt. They're building it off the brand that Crackdown is and that people remember it. And by adding Terry Crews, just trying to capture some other people to give it a shot. And I definitely think it's worth playing for sure. Like I said, definitely better than Sea of Thieves and what's the zombie one they have? State of Decay 2. Forza, I'm having way more fun with Crackdown. I will play way more Crackdown than I've played of any of those games. Probably all three of those games combined, I will play more Crackdown for sure. It's just fun. So
I believe it. And I heard Terry Crews is a pretty big gamer too.
Yes, he is. Yep.
This is awesome.
Yep, for sure. So Lucas,
yeah,
what you been playing?
Let's start with a little bit of Moonlighter.
Hey now.
This up from the library. Heard some people talking about it. More murmurs, not a lot of people really talking about it, but a lot of people being like, how's that game? Anybody play this game? So I thought, hey, I'll play that game.
I played that game.
Did you like that game?
I do like that game. It is a loop, which I'll let you get more into it. But for me, those games that kind of have this endless loop, this run, this grind, don't hold my attention for super long periods of time, but I do like it despite the little bit of wonkiness in the combat.
Yeah, so the loop is basically that you go out at night and you go to dungeons and you fight things. You pick up all the loot that you can carry, which you will always wish you could carry more.
Mm-hmm.
And you take it back to your shop, which you run during the day. I don't know when this person sleeps, but
and he has a bed in his house. Why?
Yeah, you can sleep there if you wish to. I don't know why you would. And then you put that stuff up for sale, so it's half dungeon crawler, half business tycoon.
Shop simulator.
I guess. Yeah, shop simulator. So, and like you said, the combat is a little bit wonky. They start you off with a sword and shield. Mm-hmm. Which I thought would be okay. Typically, I'm like a two-hander type person. I like to, if I'm going to do damage, I just want to do all the damage. But I figured I'd give the sword and shield a fair shake. And the problem is when you use the shield, it takes half a second to bring it up. Mm-hmm. And the combat is pretty frenetic at times, especially when it gets more difficult, which basically makes it completely useless. I'd rather just dodge roll, which you can do much quicker than using the shield. So kind of bummed that I decided to upgrade the sword and shield because I wish I would have just started with a different weapon or, made, because you can craft weapons, but they also come out of the things that you sell. So you have to make that decision as to whether or not you're going to sell something or use it to upgrade your gear or make new weapons or whatever. So I wish I had just done that earlier on so that I didn't upgrade a weapon I didn't really like. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the combat is a little bit wonky. There are some other things to it that I didn't like. they don't really do a good job of explaining how certain aspects of the shop work.
Yep.
And when they do, it's just through images. They don't give you any text at all. So you're left wondering, for instance, once you upgrade the shop, you can take orders and you get 3 or so days to complete an order. Get 5 of this for me. They're all fetch quests. But when they explain that to you, it just shows you a picture of somebody coming up to the desk. Then it shows you an image of some money being talked over, like haggling. And then you come to an agreement with a green check mark. And you're kind of having to look at this imagery way more than you really need to. I'd rather just look at a text box. But then you can also upgrade your shop and you get places that you can put decorations that give you bonuses to your shop. Like they'll make people tip you more for the items they purchase, or they make your customers faster or allow more people in there. But they don't tell you where to put them. So when I first purchased them, I bought all of them thinking they just get applied automatically. But no, there are specific places, and at first you only have a couple of different places to put these things. So I bought way more than I needed, wasted money, which you're always it's kind of like you're living month to month. You never have enough money, it seems like. So that wasn't really explained well. But overall, it's kind of like it's burning bright, but I don't know how long it'll burn. You know what I mean? For me to want to play this game. The loop is very enticing because you're constantly leveling up your gear and making more money, which who doesn't want to make money and be more powerful? But how long will that last? Because the story is pretty much there are dungeons to be completed, and when you complete all of them, something will happen, and that's the extent of it, basically. So if you're really story driven, which I tend to be, it might not hold your interest for too long. So that's kind of the only negative I see off the game.
Now, I do want to point out that based on your review of not knowing how to do something through the game, that the vice president of Microsoft, the Xbox guy, that Mike Ybarra, however you say his name, would be tearing you a new one publicly right now on Twitter because you're reviewing something and you don't know how to do something that's so easy, Lucas, like upgrade your shop, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, I know. It's like, why didn't I just look up online how to do it instead of ask questions? Jeez. Yeah,
you should probably just kill yourself.
I should read 10 reviews. All right, I'm done.
Just throw away your Switch now. Just chuck it in the ocean.
I give up gaming forever, which is really going to make this podcast awkward because I'm going to be on the podcast. So that's Moonlighter. Speaking of being frustrated and an idiot, and I should just go kill myself or at least get good. Resident Evil 2. So since last week, I was playing this pretty extensively. Really just, I don't know what it was about it, but it was really getting under my skin and I wanted to play it more and more. So I actually got a little bit further than just, hey, I made it to the police station now. And I'm running into some difficulties knowing where to go. I ended up looking up where to get to, where I have to go or what I have to do to progress. And I don't mind doing that, but I try to avoid it. It doesn't bother me, but I don't have any past experience with the game, so I didn't remember what to do from before. But I will tell you one thing, and I'm trying to be spoilery for people who haven't played it and want to, but it's no surprise. I don't think anybody doesn't know that there's a guy named Mr. X who comes after you. And X is going to give it to you, and he will come up and punch you right in the stomach. And when he walks around, he makes the loudest effing noise ever. Yep. It's just so annoying to hear him thud, thud, thud. Because once it starts, it never stops. I don't remember in RE2, did he show up randomly? I'm guessing just it would be on a timer or an event would happen that would trigger him. He didn't follow you the way he does here in this game, correct?
I thought he did. I mean, you'll get to a point where he doesn't follow you for a bit. And then he reappears. But yeah, as far as I remember, you just reached a certain point and he would follow you around. Okay. Well, two things. One, it makes it really, and I understand this is the whole intention of him being here, but it makes it really darn difficult to do anything because
when he shows up, you still have rooms that, though they may have another door on the other side, so there's 2 exits, it might be locked or blocked in some way, so you can't get out, and there are objectives that you need to get to. So you're just like, oh my gosh, this dude's following me around, and it's so annoying. The other thing I've noticed is it didn't feel this way because I did play a little bit of the original. It makes the police station feel a lot smaller than I remember, because
I felt it was bigger. Okay, interesting.
I just felt like I was constantly, because I was trying to avoid him, I was constantly running to the same locations, moving up one floor, then going back to the other side, then coming back down. And maybe it's just because I visited the same hallways over and over again, but I'm just like, man, this really feels a lot smaller now. And it's probably just because of how limited I was in movement to go where I wanted to go, because he was there. I couldn't delve too deep because who knows if I would get cornered. So it's a little bit frustrating, and all of this to say that's why I looked up where to go next, because honestly, I don't want to spend all my time getting punched in the face and then trying to figure, like, I don't know where to go. What do I do?
Oh, Deborah.
Yeah, you do. This guy gets it. So I'm enjoying it, but yeah, that was really frustrating. That was kind of the first snag. And since that happened, I was kind of like, all right, time to play something else. And that ended up being Moonlighter for most of the time. But I did purchase on Steam in not the last sale, but 2 sales ago.
Wait,
so
not
dirt
a Humble
cheap,
Bundle
of course.
game?
No. I know I cheated on Humble Bundle.
Oh my goodness.
I've always heard really, really good things about this game. And after playing Hollow Knight and loving it so much, I decided to give Ori and the Blind Forest a shot because, like I said, I've heard it was beautiful, sounds great, the story is very touching, and of course, platforming. And all of those things are very true. I haven't gotten very far in it. I find the combat to be a little strange. If you're not familiar with the game, you have this, eventually you pick up this orb, because you play this little character who represents light, basically. And you pick up this little orb thing or a fairy or something, and your attack is that these little streams of fire or electricity or something shoot out of this orb, but you have no control over where it shoots. It just kind of automatically targets the biggest threat or whatever, or sometimes it's environmental things that you can burst open and get some goodies out of or whatever. And so that's kind of weird. So it's not really or at least so far, it doesn't seem to be as difficult as Hollow Knight is. There's not as much combat. It seems to be more platforming and puzzle solving, but really light puzzle solving, but it is beautiful. It looks like a children's storybook come to life, like a painting or something. It is really nice to look at, and it sounds great too. The orchestral music is just really pleasant to listen to, and I probably will check out the entire, see if it's on Spotify or something just to give it a listen, because it is quite beautiful. And it has a very Disney-esque or Pixar, DreamWorks opening where you see another character and they're just like, hey, these characters love each other and spend time together, and then something happens and they and you're just like,
die.
Why? Yeah, you're just
so it's like the whole up thing all over again.
Yeah, pretty much. Not quite as bad, but pretty close. That's what I was thinking. So yeah, you feel more for these characters in 5 minutes than you do for some characters in a 2-hour movie, it seems like. So it has a lot of charm, and I'm looking forward to delving more into this game and seeing what its staying power is, because again, I heard it's really great, so I can only imagine it gets better from here. So looking forward to playing it.
Yeah, I played it a little bit, and I kind of have the same thoughts you did. Like I didn't play it, I want to say like maybe 5-6 hours, and then I kind of just stopped. And I think it's just because of everything else I have to play that I just didn't stick with it. But yeah, it does get a little bit harder. The combat, I don't think I didn't hit anything that made it change for me. And the platforming, there are certain aspects that get really hard compared to what you're kind of given at the start. So it kind of the difficulty scale ramps up as far as the platforming stuff, which honestly at this point in my life, I kind of hate those things, platformers. Like when it's like, hey, you mess up once and you're going to die, not just like, oh, you mess up, you have to go back and do it again, like Mario platformers. Like that's very different than what this is. This is far less forgiving when you mess stuff up later on. So.
Although you can save anywhere though, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, it was hard to get used to because you have to have enough energy to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you die, it acts as more of a checkpoint than it does a save point because you don't really reload. You just automatically go right back to that point. However, everything that you've collected or done in that run is undone. So if you collected a key, you have to go back and pick that key up. So you really have to remember to keep doing it or else you have to do a whole bunch of stuff over again, which would make doing the platforming sections that are difficult very, very obnoxious. If I was like, no, and I totally can see myself being like, I didn't save. Why didn't I do that? So
that's brutal. That would make me check that game somewhere. Honestly, I'd probably get to a point where I'm like, nope, we're done here.
I think that's what led me to do that and say I want to play something more fun.
Yeah, that's. I hope not.
Yeah,
Lucas, have you seen the clip of when Mr. X comes through, and every time he comes through, they have like the DMX music?
I have not actually seen it, but I have heard of it. And I know I need
to look it up.
Well, now, apparently, not to get into the news, but apparently there's a patch that puts him in like a man thong instead of his trench coat and hat.
What?
I know. I was just like, who would want that? But at the same time, why not? It's only a matter of time before they mod him into Randy Man Macho.
Randy Man, you said you do that. Wow.
I told you I do that.
Wow.
Randy Man Macho Savage. I told you I do that. I don't know why. Now I can't say it the
Macho
right way.
Man Randy Savage.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Wow.
What happened to a Slim Jim?
Randy Man Macho Savage into the a la Skyrim. He bursts through the wall and says, snap into a Slim Jim and and all that good stuff.
They somebody found a way, and that wasn't deliberate, but he glitched the game, and there's a way you can accidentally drop a second Mr. X into it in the remake.
Oh,
so
no.
Somebody filmed like there's two of them, like, oh my god, that's just the worst right there ever.
Yes, that would be my nightmare.
Yeah. All right, well, you've heard enough from us, so let's take a quick pause so we can hear from you. It's time to check out the messages.
Message for you, sir.
First one up is from Sydney. We have a couple quick hits. She wants to know Shamrock Shakes, yay or nay? So, in case you don't know what a Shamrock Shake is, that is a McDonald's delectable treat that's only available certain times a year around St. Paddy's Day. It is a bright green milkshake that tastes like mint.
Yes. That it is. I wonder how you feel about it.
You know what I mean? All right, I will go first. So I can no longer have milkshakes due to fitness reasons, not lactose intolerant. But I do enjoy a Shamrock Shake because I enjoy mint and things. I'm not a shy person with like chocolate mint flavored things. I love peppermints. I love, even like peppermint essential oils. Like I do all that stuff. Like I love mint. So I am yay on it, but I totally understand why a lot of people do not favor the Shamrock Shake.
Well, for me, there's only yay. I mean, I've already had 2 of them, so give me all the Shamrock Shakes.
Dang. I don't really like peppermint, and I always avoided a Shamrock Shake because I don't like chocolate chip mint ice cream or anything like that. I would be willing to give it a try now, but I still don't really like mint in most things. And you said peppermint essential oils, and my wife is like that, and I cannot stand it because it is so strong.
Yeah.
It stings the nostrils. It's just, I don't understand why you'd want to suffer. But lactose intolerance be darned, I would try a shake. It would be a gut bomb for me, and nobody will want to be around me afterward, but I would be willing to try it.
I will
it's not like
say
they're expensive.
That it's just a hint of mint. It's not like
it's vanilla mint. Like
anyway, it's like just a little subtle hint. You're like, is this or isn't it mint, or am I making that up because my brain sees green?
It actually tastes like a shamrock. That's really what it is.
I didn't know shamrocks had flavors.
Have you ever eaten one?
Shamrock flavored cereal. Oh, gross.
No.
Have I ever? I don't even think have I ever even seen one? What is a shamrock? Is it a four-leaf clover?
Clover, yeah.
Which would taste the same as a 3-leaf clover, just for reference there. It doesn't taste different.
No, they taste better because of the leaves. There's 4 of them.
And they're rare.
Exactly. So rare, I've apparently never seen them before.
Makes 2 of us.
All right, so that's your homework, Lucas. You need to have one.
Shamrock shake or just eat
or 4-leaf clover. Whichever one you find first, you have to eat one of those.
Both. Do it.
Both.
Do it.
Same thing.
Okay. I will do that.
Next question comes in from Justin, not the chef, but our own staff member, Justin Pickard. Which one of us would last longest in a nuclear or zombie apocalypse? Dev, I'll throw it to you first.
Hey. Who's got guns? Any of you guys own guns?
Like literal guns or these guns?
I got these guns.
Yeah, those guns ain't going to do you a whole lot at all.
I do not have any guns.
Nor do I. So I feel like none of us are going to last very long in either.
Has anyone here shotguns? Fired a weapon, I should say.
Me.
I have as well.
Only on virtual consoles.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
No. No actual gunplay here.
If VR counts, then I have hours of training.
I've trained my whole life for this moment.
in VR. So I have an answer, and it's because of what you brought up. I would think listener Callow would do pretty well because he's constantly showing us pictures of knives, of guns, not too many guns, cigars, so he can kick some booty.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's only a matter of time before we talk him into buying a sword. I mean, we've been trying for so long now.
Trying so hard. He's basically the cover of Contra. I mean, that's what it boils down to.
Well, if he keeps working out the way he has been, he's putting us all to shame. This dude's going to be ripped. He's going to be the next Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh, man. But you know what? You might last the longest, Lucas, just based on where you're at. I'm not going to last long at all because I'm in close to Los Angeles. It's a wrap. It's not. I'm done for.
Yeah, nobody wants to live here, so we have very few. I have a crazy neighbor who collects guns, and he literally told me, if the stuff goes down, just come over here and we'll protect you because I have guns. And I was like, he's a really nice guy, but I was just kind of like, okay, don't ever do anything that could be misconstrued as offensive to him because that's a guy you don't want to get on the bad side of.
So he's the one that has the zombie apocalypse kit, basically.
Yes, I would think so. He's MREs, like a whole bunker underground, I would imagine.
See, that's what would get me is I'm not a prepper, so I don't have like a stash of stuff anywhere.
Yeah.
But I'm resourceful in the sense of I could probably make some weapons and do damage with normal things people wouldn't think to use. Because I'm like that. But as far as like food stuff, I'd have to get that somewhere in the process. So
well, you're resourceful, so you MacGyver stuff, and then you go steal the food.
That's what I mean. So I think it would result into that. So yeah, I don't know, but Lucas has a good setup.
Yeah.
But would he just end up as bait though if something went down? If this guy was like, "Hey, I need to protect my family," or this guy's out, getting tossed, and you're close to it. And I mean, while you're not there, but Detroit's not that far away.
It would be literally just a roll tide of zombies coming over to the West Coast from the east, and just there's nothing else to eat, so let's just keep going until we hit. I'll ask him that. I'll be like, "Hey, would you use me as bait?" See how that goes.
The real question is, are you smooth enough to just talk him out of it and then use him as bait?
Ooh, I was smooth enough to talk my way into the show.
Oh, you're saving, bro.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I mean, let's break it down just to bare bones here. We know Dev is out first. I mean, you're just genetically disposed to be the first one to die. I mean, let's just be honest. Like,
either that or I'm gonna get away and you're never gonna see me again. One of the two.
Oh, that's true too. That's a good call.
Because when the stuff hits the fan, I'm leaving. There's
first
no
one out
looking
the door.
back. There's no questioning. It's just I'm gone.
So you're not gonna go like Busta Rhymes in Halloween where he tried to like roundhouse kick Michael Myers in the face.
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. That's just dumb. You're just asking for it by doing stuff like that.
Real men run.
Absolutely.
Well, there you go. We don't know, but we had some fun bantering about that as to who's going to last the longest. Might just be Dev because he's just going to take off. House, kids, wife, everyone just gone.
Hey,
See ya.
my wife has already told me, look, if the hits the fan, just leave me. She's not trying to fight. She's like, look, I'm just going to slow you down, grab them babies and go. So,
Oh, but she's making you take the kids. That's just going to set you up for failure.
bait.
I've seen A Quiet Place. Kids don't fare well in doomsday situations.
Dude, no joke. Me and my wife, we had a whole discussion about it. We were like, we are not going to survive with these kids. Because
No, your son would ruin that in 10 seconds.
we talked about it. We had a whole discussion about Bird Box and how our kids they just would not last at all because my daughter's going to ask 40,000 questions. And my son, once we tell him he can't do something, he's like, but no, I can do this, daddy. Oh yeah, it's a wrap. They're just no good for me at all. So they are bait.
Daddy, I can do it. In fact, I've already done it.
Right.
Gone. Oh, all right. Well, thank you, Justin, for that. And the last question we have, it's a bit of a doozy. It comes from the boss man, Donnie. So give me a moment here. I have to read this novel he wrote. Are video game reviews an outdated gaming relic of the past? With so many games today being accessible through betas and subscription services, being played live on streaming services a click away, being constantly updated on day 1, day 100, a year, over a year, and with so many people having access to put up their own blogs and videos voicing their opinions, can any game truly be aggregated and compared in a way that will be accepted by a large audience as one critical standard? Is there an actual need for professional video game critique, or have players taken over as the voice of information? Is it possible the controversy and disagreement drives more conversations around games than ever before, and is a net positive by the end? And before Devin speaks and throws Donnie under the bus, he wanted me to mention that he has changed his mind on reviews during his tenure in PSVG. Now he just reads coverage to find out information and details on a game about that he was on the fence about purchasing, but pays no attention to the score. I will echo Donnie's statements there too, that I have turned on reading actual review scores because it's evident in some of the games I enjoy most don't necessarily get great review scores. Far Cry 5 last year was an example. Far Cry New Dawn right now is an example. Both games I've enjoyed that don't have great critic reviews, but I'm having fun with them, so I don't really care. Crackdown, another one for that fact.
Fallout 76.
No, I don't like Fallout 76. It's okay. Yeah, it's been uninstalled, and I'm hoping that one day it has a Destiny like revitalization and they fix things, but it's just a slow grind right now. But I think nowadays that every internet loser has a podcast and a voice on the thing, like us, that I think stuff like this is more valuable. With a reviewer, it's kind of hard to, like a professional review, like an IGN, a GameSpot, things like that. It's a little bit harder to read where their intentions are. Is it something that they're just paid to do this review? Do they get something from the developer to do a review? You know, are they afraid of bashing a game because then they won't get other review codes from like EA or something? You're not sure about the motivation, but when you get somebody who's either truly honest about it and doesn't care about those types of things, or is just doing it as a hobby, you can find someone that has those same types of games that you like. And you might have a better idea as to, oh, well, I trust this person. We like a lot of the same games. His thoughts on this game will probably be the same as mine. Like, I know there's people out there that agree with me on certain games, so they know, like, hey, if Kevin likes this, I'll probably like this. If Donnie says this is a good Nintendo game, it's probably a good Nintendo game, you know, based on what I like that Donnie likes. Like, those are just the things they find for us. You know, we reach out to Coach Mo for his opinion on sports games. Like, that's just what we do. Like, that's, you know, you go to our best person we have for that type of game and say, hey, what do you think of this? And I think that's kind of more the conversation now. And I think a lot of these professional reviews don't do anything other than cause these types of conversations we're having right now about games versus what the actual number score is. So I think people like us are, I hate to even say this, it sounds so bad, but I think people like us are more important in that field for people to find out information on games or true opinions versus just a fluff piece or a puff piece, or I'm just got to get this review out, so I'm going to do it piece. Not looking at something objectively and giving good, honest feedback on something. Yeah, that's my 2 cents. But Dev, since you were called out, sort to you.
Yeah, man, I've stopped looking at review scores for quite some time. Just after reading so many of them and like realizing that you can have a score for it that you want to put your number on it, and just thinking to myself, that's your number. I may enjoy it and rate it a lot higher, and realizing that, you know what, I cannot take reviews as gospel. I like to read previews, and it's kind of like the earlier stuff, because that gives me an idea of what the game is going to be. And then based on what I'm seeing, I can decide if that's something that I actually want to play, rather than, you know, going off of somebody's review score that may not like this type of game that I actually do like. That's my thing on it. Like, it's for me, it's more about just looking at the types of games you like and deciding based on what you see, do you want to play that? And that way you're also not, you know, tainted by somebody's review, when you could actually be looking at a gem, but because somebody just didn't happen to like that type of game, you look at their review and you think, okay, it's garbage, I'm not going to play it. Like right now, I think Anthem is sitting at like a 6 or something on Metacritic. And I already know I like that game. I wouldn't give it a 6. So it's something I'm going to have to play for myself and develop my own feelings about the game, instead of being tainted by somebody else's review or leaning towards what they think of it and letting it kind of change how I feel about it. So for me, I think the conversation around video games is great, but the actual need for a review score, I think, is kind of irrelevant. I think it's more about, this is my experience with the game. This is what I liked about it, but it doesn't necessarily need a score anymore, in my opinion.
All right. The pros and cons really at this point, if they're called out, should be things that are just universal. Like, hey, con, this has really bad load times. That's going to be the same experience for everybody. That's not an opinion. That's a fact.
Right.
Or, you know, hey, there's tons of content here. You will have hundreds of hours in this game. That is a fact. If you know, those are things that are there, as opposed to, like you said, the opinion piece and somebody like, hey, I don't like this game's specific mechanic. Mm-hmm. Well, that isn't necessarily a fact. It's an opinion piece, but then you run into the fact, do I trust this person? Do I agree with this person normally? Or is this something that I enjoy? Do I like this grind? For people that say Anthem's too grindy, for me, that's not necessarily a factor as far as a review, because some people want that in the game and some people don't. That's not something you can really kind of give a definitive score on and say, right, well, it's grindy, so it's going to be a 6. Well, you know, for grindy, maybe some people consider that a 10. Who knows?
Exactly.
Lucas.
I agree with both of you to a certain degree. I find myself finding reviewers who I align with, or at the very least, I understand where they're coming from. And as long as they continue to act in a predictable manner, then I can trust them, because I know, well, this is, like you guys have said, this is just their tastes, or this is what they like. So I can at least have a basis, a standard of where they're coming from. Mm-hmm. I actually, if I'm looking at a game on Steam or any place that has reviews from users, I do tend to look at those, and I don't always look at all of them, but the ones that have bothered to write out something, I find are more forthcoming about either being unbiased and just telling you what the game is like, or they are biased, but they know it. So they tell you, I really like this game. There's a reason I've spent 1,000 hours in Fallout 76 or whatever. But when it comes to the question of whether or not reviews are antiquated things that we should just get rid of, or at least scores, first of all, the scores are never going to go away, because that's just clickbait. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a good score or a bad score. All that matters is your perception of that score, and that drives people clicking on it. Because if you see a game that, like Anthem, how did that get a 6? I'm going to click on that and read it. You know, most people tend to do that. You might not. Some people might not. But generally speaking, that gets clicks. And I think if you're looking at reviewing video games as a profession, I think you do still need scores, in the sense that if you're the type of person who has spent time understanding what you're looking at when it comes to reviewing a game, knowing why a game is bad or good and what goes into making a game, and not just your perceptions of what a game is or should be, then I think that is a good review that is worth some merit. Like Kevin said, they should be able to say, these are the things in the game that happen, like long load screens, and that typically is a con. And we all know that's a con. Nobody wants to wait. You know, those unbiased opinions, I do think to a certain degree, we still need it, just because whether or not we like it or not, it's going to happen anyways. I mean, it's an industry, so it does. The whole point is moot. But it also does have some weight to it. It's just there's a lot of noise out there too, and it's up to us really to figure out how to navigate all of that. That's really, unfortunately, it lies on us to be able to figure out where to go to get our game news and reviews. So, but it is not the end all be all. Like Dev said, it should not be taken as gospel. And I mean, one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard was there's a good 7 and a bad 7 as far as like a 7 out of 10 goes.
Sure.
And it's true. There are 7 seems to be one of those scores where it really is. A lot of people are kind of either hate the game or love it. There's usually no middle ground there. So something like that really shows you how kind of unimportant those scores really are. It really just does come down to what you feel about the game, whether or not you like it. Just use it as a starting point and then figure it out from there.
Valid points.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you everybody for sending in questions this week. As always, you can let us know your questions over on Twitter at PSVG or reach out to us on the Discord, which you can get the link for that over at psvg.blog. Gentlemen, I say it's time to move on and check out the news of the week.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite news outlet on the Citadel.
I will go first. And Xbox Game Pass subscribers made another another announcement that, hey, we're getting more new games coming to Game Pass, which I will be open about as I have been. I was initially thinking Game Pass was a dumb idea, and I still kind of feel I don't understand how it's a business win for anybody. But hey, I'm a user, and I'm glad because I get tons of games for free. And they announced 4 more games on top of what they already announced are dropping between right now as we're recording this and next week. So we already knew games were being released. Batman Return to Arkham was already there, which is the Xbox One collection that includes Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. Dropped on Game Pass today as we're recording. Nice. It's also being joined by Double Fine's retro futuristic Metroidvania game Headlander, which was one of Seth's favorite games, and actually, ironically enough, his first review he did for PSVG was on Headlander. And Junction Point Studios' Epic Mickey 2, which was an Xbox 360 backward compatible game. And the following week, on February 28th, it's going to add Alien Isolation and The Walking Dead Season 2 when they added The Walking Dead Season 1 earlier this month. So for $9.99 a month, you get access to all these games. And if you've never been a subscriber, at least as of right now, you can get 2 months for $2, which is nuts. I own the Batman Arkham Return to Arkham, so that doesn't do anything for me. Headlander, I will definitely try out based on Seth's recommendation. Epic Mickey 2, I've always wanted to play, and I don't think I've ever just sat down and played it, so I will because it's Disney. But the big one for me is Alien Isolation. I've wanted to play that, and I almost pulled the trigger on a few sales, and now I don't have to because I just get it with Game Pass. So I'm excited to give that one a whirl. So, yeah.
My question is, why can Microsoft do Game Pass better than Nintendo can release Nintendo games on their online service?
Money. They charge more when you think about it. It's $10 a month.
That's true, but they're also releasing games that aren't from their own company.
Right.
Yep.
I'm still trying to figure out how is this making anyone money?
I don't know, but it clearly is because people were doing it. So I don't know.
I wonder if people figure, well, for instance, I know Alien Isolation has a bit of DLC to it. Mm-hmm. I wonder if they're figuring, well, if I don't own the game, I'll at least throw them a little bit of money by buying the DLC for it.
That could be very valid. I haven't done so yet, but you know what? You're probably right. I would be tempted to do something like that if it was a game that I really enjoyed that was on Game Pass. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I'm telling you, if they keep this, I think next generation, this is going to hurt Dev a little bit in the heart area. My first next gen console would probably be Microsoft if they keep doing Game Pass. And then to be honest, I probably would rarely, if ever, buy a game. I'm just going to do Game Pass because there's so much stuff and they're adding, I think the lowest month was 4 games they added in 1 month. Like it's always like 8 now at this point, 6 to 8 games. I'm like, I couldn't play them all if I wanted to. So
yeah, that's kind of how I feel about, I do the Humble Monthly thing. Right. And that's exactly what it is. It's like, I don't need to worry about buying games because unless it's something new coming out, it'll probably end up being in the monthly. So I could totally see just playing the games that come on there because it looks like they're doing a pretty good job of bringing a little something to everybody. You've got Alien Isolation and then Disney Epic Mickey, two completely opposite genres, but in audiences. That's
and
really cool.
And if you're an achievement hunter, you can play the Walking Dead games, which gets you, just beat the game and you get all the achievements. So that's easy achievement points.
Chivos.
Did Epic Mickey 2, was that a Kinect game for 360? I feel like there was like a wand or something special that came along with that game when it dropped.
He had the paintbrush, and I know it had motion controls in the Wii too. So maybe, I'm not sure, but it was also on PlayStation. They didn't utilize any thing, so it might have been an option for it then. But I know it's not mandatory. It's not one that you had to play Kinect. So it has Oswald the unlucky rabbit on it. So.
Game Pass.
Yeah. So, Lucas, what you got?
Yeah, this broke a couple days ago. Darkest Dungeon 2 is coming. If you're not familiar with Darkest Dungeon, it's a weird little, how would you describe it? You get a band of adventurers and you explore these locations by moving along kind of a hallway that represents a map. And you go through doors and you kind of end up going through different rooms. So it's kind of almost a 2D scrolling game where you end up battling every once in a while. And the whole kicker is you don't want to get too attached to your team because they will fall in battle at some point and will be replaced. But beyond that, there's also kind of a metagame where the horrors of dungeon delving weighs heavy on the mind of these adventurers, and oftentimes they'll come back to the town and they will have to go to the bar and they'll be there, they'll spend a certain amount of time there drinking their sorrows away, or stuff like that, or they have to go repent at the church, whatever it may be. So the reason why I brought this up is because I never ended up completing Darkest Dungeon, but for some reason when I saw this, I think it was Seth who had originally sent a link on Discord. I was like, oh, Kevin is being funny in the chat. I was like, man, I need to go back and play that game because I got really attached to my characters, which I think because I played XCOM like Enemy Within and the second one so soon, I have to have a perfect run, and then I felt that way about this, and you just cannot do that. It's pretty much impossible to finish with your original party. So
it's like playing a Fire Emblem on the harder level where if somebody dies, they're gone forever, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. But I spent so much money in that it's like when you pay for your kid to go to college and then they just end up working at McDonald's.
I think you were saying then they die and you lose them forever. I'm like, that's dark, man.
Well, that too. No. You spend all that money on them getting better gear and a higher education, and then they, lose it to
disappoint us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was trying to think of what's the H.P. Lovecraft guy? Cthulhu. That's the one.
Say H.P. Lovecraft is a guy.
Can you just edit that so I sound smart?
Yeah, totally. I'll go back and edit all that stuff.
Yeah, I bet you will. You will.
Totally. What systems is this announced for? I see that there's a teaser trailer which they don't really show you anything other than like the logo.
I don't know.
I'll have to edit that out too.
I would. I mean, one would assume that it would come out for all of the things that it came out for.
Which I think was everything. I think it ended up on everything.
Yeah,
except for the Switch.
No, it's on the Switch.
It's on the Switch.
Yeah,
but literally came out, I think, a year after it had already been out.
Probably.
So,
yeah, you're right. I don't see nothing in this press release.
At all.
It's weird.
Well, we know it's going to be on PC because this is PC Gamer.
Yeah, and it'll be early access, so it'll be on Steam first.
Yeah,
but
kind of makes you think about like Baldur's Gate. I used to always want all my characters alive, but that was just so difficult. Put all your stuff into them, get them the good gear, the good pack, and then they get killed by a fireball, and you're like, oh, well, great.
Baldur's Gate or Icewind Dale?
Yeah, Baldur's Gate. That was my one. Oh man, aren't they remaking that and bringing it to systems? Baldur's Gate 2
Enhanced Edition, I think.
Yeah. I'll play that on the Switch.
Will you?
Yes, I will.
Or will you just buy Anthem on 2 consoles?
I'll buy Anthem on PC that doesn't exist first.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I have Destiny 2 on the PC. Like I actually
Yeah.
purchased that, and I don't have a PC. It's
Destiny 2 on every console but the Switch because it doesn't have it.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, if it had it on there, I'd buy it because much like you and your battle royale games, your Fortnite.
Yeah, my games are free. I don't pay for them.
This is true, and you get your battle passes for free too.
Exactly.
Look at you, just gaming the system.
Yep. And with the game, with bring it back to Fortnite, with the battle pass, if you're good enough, you earn enough money by leveling up that you don't need to pay for the next battle pass. So I've only thrown this game like $15 total for the last 2 years I've been playing it and unlocking stuff. So even if I don't get this free battle pass, I have enough points to cover next month, and I would only need like another 100 to cover the month after that. So I'm good either way. But
Kevin, you need to stop.
I know.
Stop.
I would say that, but then again, as much as I play Destiny, I can't tell you to stop doing anything because then I'd just be a hypocrite.
Yeah, but at least you got story or something in Destiny. I'm literally just playing to get a new skin. Like, hey, I got these onesie pajamas like a couple days ago. That was the big skin for me this month. My daughter really wanted it, so I'm like, all right, I got to grind until I get this thing.
You must be a big hit with all the kids at the library who only play Fortnite. So
Right.
I will tell you, my kids always brag to their friends when they bring them over to the house. They're like, my dad plays Fortnite. They're like, no, he doesn't. And they're like, go ahead, Dad, put it on. And they're like, oh my God, like mind blown. Like
your dad's cool.
Yeah, my dad just drinks beer and doesn't talk to my mom.
It's me.
Oh wow, that took a turn.
Yeah,
You're like
you went darker than me.
well, you're like when people would say, my dad works at Nintendo. You're like the cool dad.
Yeah. And then they tell them I have a
Congratulations.
podcast, and they're like, what? Nerd.
My dad does that too, and he doesn't have a job.
Oh man.
Dev, save us. What you got for news, man?
All right, so Dreams, that long gestating, long awaiting PS4 game, is actually finally going into early access. And not only is it going into early access, but they're releasing it at a price point of $30.
Wow.
It's not the full game. It's going to get, pretty much all the tools and everything that you're going to be able to do in the game. So I'm glad that it's finally coming out. It's interesting that they're going to release it in early access, but I think the price point is actually perfect to get people into this thing. I don't even really want to call it a game because I feel like it's so much more than that. It's more like just like a creative engine. So the fact that it's finally coming out, they're actually going to charge a price, because I think if they would have released it at $60, even if it wasn't early access, was going to be problematic. I don't know if that would have sold, but I think deciding to go the early access route, $30, and it being somewhat limited, is really going to drive people to playing this, to people who actually want to, delve around with some creation tools and create some games. I think this is definitely a win for them because we've been waiting for this forever. And there was nothing but positive stuff that came out from when they did like the demo and all that stuff, the closed beta. I didn't say anything negative out of that. I only saw positive things. I only saw people who actually really, really enjoyed it and were kind of blown away by the things that you could create, the things that you could actually play in the beta. So I think them taking an early access this spring and only charging $30 for it is going to just make it that much bigger. I think this is going to be a pretty big thing, as well as carrying over to whatever the next PlayStation is. I think you're going to have a Dreams 2 or whatnot that's going to carry over and still have all this creation stuff. So I think it's pretty cool.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, you look at some of the stuff people have already made with it between the betas and stuff. It's remarkable. Like, I mean, I don't think who knows? I didn't try it, but I would think myself, I wouldn't have the talent required to do what some of these people are doing in it, but supposedly it's pretty easy to use. The early access move, I think, is pretty smart. Like you said, that if they tried to charge $60, it's going to fall flat. I don't think people would be willing to try something that's clearly experimental for $60 and say, well, will I like this? And then they get it and like, I didn't like this at all. And, be let down. Reading it, they haven't really been fully forward as to what this is with the early access, like you stated. From the way I'm reading it, sounds like, hey, we're releasing the early access, and when you get it, there may not be everything here, but we're going to keep working on it, and they're going to get the updates and they're going to get stuff, and then eventually when it's full release, just means they're done updating it other than maybe little maintenance stuff. So I liken it kind of to what PUBG did.
Mm-hmm.
So it was on Xbox Early Access. It was $30, same deal. And like when you got the game, you went through a ton of jank, and there still is some, even though it's a full release now. But you were part of the process of building this game as it went along, and it looks like they're aiming to do the same thing. And they probably want to see, like, hey, here's the tools we have now. Let's see what people make, and then make new tools to enhance what we see people using this stuff for.
Absolutely.
And then eventually, when it's all said and done, they release the full release, which I think would still be $30. That's what PUBG did. It was $30 for early access, and the game launched. It was still $30, so it didn't matter. But now you had this whole hype building up, like, hey, this is all the stuff made in dreams. Yeah, I want $30. I want to try this stuff out. The way PUBG built the hype, and everybody was playing PUBG, before Fortnite took over the world, and people were like, yeah, here's my $30. I want to play PUBG. Let's go. Like, so they build that hype ahead of time. And actually, I think in the long run helps it sell better and give people a more opportunity to see it before trying it, I think.
Yeah. But what I'm wondering is, does it have slopes? Because Mario Maker 2, they added slopes. I'm going to need those. This actually looks really cool. Just to put in my two.
You can make your own slopes.
Oh my gosh,
and
the slopes go on forever.
We don't need slopes. I was thinking this. I was just about to say that.
Yeah, I don't even know. Is this game making tools? What's going on?
Pretty much. Yeah,
art?
It really is. It's people are able to make their own things, and you can make cartoons, you can make games, it's literally a game developer kit essentially, and they can do whatever they want with it, and you can upload it for other people to experience and try it out too.
But with a gamepad instead of a mouse and keyboard?
Yeah.
I think you can also use. I think there's a VR portion of it too, where you can actually use the wands and draw and create.
Okay, I'm sold now. I'll do that. PSVR.
Yeah,
that would be a lot. I've only dabbled in some of the creation VR stuff, but it is surprisingly intuitive when it works well.
And that's what they say about this, from what I've heard, what I've read, that it's actually rather intuitive and it's not as difficult as people think once they actually get into it and start creating stuff.
Huh.
Cool.
I knew nothing about this, and now I do. I don't have a PlayStation, but it's still cool.
Yay!
See, look at the stuff you learn once you're out of your box.
I came out from under my rock and looked around, and I was
like the light. Like,
this isn't Steam.
The zombie apocalypse, the nuclear winter, and came out into this.
That's true. Look at all the wonderful colors.
All right, we're getting giddy now. It's time to start wrapping up, everybody. So, Dev, where can people find you and what you are up to, good sir?
You can find me at DevAtias on the Twitterverse. You can friend me if you want to on the Xbox at DatNinjaDev or PS4 at DatNinjaDev2. And you can always find me in the Discord, where I do my best to drive Downey crazy.
Today it worked.
Oh, yeah.
And we won. If you posted, he said we won, and then Kyle came in and hit everyone with the steel chair. But
yeah, we take home that victory right there.
It's a V. Take the L, Donnie. Take the L. Lucas Rose, sir.
Yeah.
Where can people find you and what you're up to?
I mean, you can find me here because I'm sitting in. I'm the resident second chair. So I'm here, baby. I'm for the long haul. You put a ring on it, as you said once.
I did say that because Jason got mad.
You can also find me on another show I do called Flux Deposed, where we just giggle and have fun, kind of like I'm bringing to you guys here on this show, but way, way, way worse and not worth listening to at all. Dirtier too, yes. It's just one big fart joke, basically. I'm also on Twitter, but I don't really use it much. Heavy metal _riff, not rift. I can't even get my own name right. But I am on the Discord. Discord's my new jam. Find me there. Join PSVG. We have a lot of fun there. There's a lot of different topics, not just gaming. You want to talk about baking? We'll make a baking channel. I don't have the power to do that, but I've said it, and it has to happen now. So,
I mean, I can do it.
He can do it.
You are just an order, so I mean, it would make sense.
It's true.
So while I was pulling up the info just to find out, because one of the plugs I want to do is we actually have a store now for people that are interested. Donnie went ahead and made some Shack Life shirts. Just pulling up the link here that people can purchase. He initially only made some for like him and Jason and Caro, and there were no plans to sell it. But the second he posted himself in a picture of it, there were a couple people that asked, hey, where can I get those things? So he decided to pop up a store, which you can find over at teespring.com/store/PSVG. We know it's a long name right now. I got to get him to link to it on the website, psvg.blog. So you can get that. There will be more t-shirts and stuff coming soon. As we know, Caro is in the process of buying a new home and moving. So a lot of her time is soaked up into that for the next couple weeks. But I've already talked to her about sweet ASS design for a PSVG shirt. So look forward to that, which Donnie has signed off on. He approves, and Carol was like, oh my God, this is great. I can totally do this. So look forward to that. And I know some of the other teams want stuff done too. We have to kind of retool logos and catchphrases and stuff like that to get them on there, but keep an eye on that. We will, make more announcements to that when it comes. As we said earlier, patreon.com/PSVG if you'd like to donate to this shenanigans and keep this pirate ship afloat. Lucas says he'll design a shirt. Lucas owes me a shirt that I asked for like a year ago.
What shirt?
I'll drink your milkshake.
Oh,
you even started drawing it and then just gave up.
No, that's because my laptop died. Rest in peace. It was a MacBook though, so no surprise. Those things are garbage. But one day, I will complete that shirt and many other shirts. Probably, no promises.
There you go. So
what about hoodies? Because I want a hoodie.
That's true. Hoodies are expensive though. Well, the Shack ones aren't bad. The Shack ones,
I'll pay.
Yeah. The Shack Life ones aren't that expensive, I think, compared to what he paid for his Xbox Empire one. That's not for sale on the site because that was insane. But yeah, look forward to all this stuff. So psvg.blog, all the things are there, so you can find us there. And look forward to next week when Lucas and I will be up to more shenanigans, no doubt. And maybe we'll have somebody else with us. Maybe we won't. Maybe I'll do it Battle Royale style. But, more importantly than anything else we ask of you each and every week, everybody, is that you never stop gaming.
This has been a PSVG production. Any music, sound effects, or the like is owned by their respective copyright holders. No infringement is intended. The views expressed in this production are those of the individual contributor and may not necessarily reflect PSVG. This production may not be repurposed, reused, or redistributed without the express written consent of PSVG. PSVG is powered by patrons at patreon.com/PSVG. Become a patron to get special perks, including access to exclusive content.